Most tool companies claim unbeatable prices, but behind Harbor Freight's discount empire lies a secret that changed the industry. It began with a mail-order gamble in 1977, and it grew into a billion-dollar chain powered by overseas factories and cut-rate container deals. Their tools are cheap for a reason, and understanding how they broke the rules could save you from costly mistakes. So, what really happens before a Harbor Freight tool hits the shelf? In 1977, a teenager named Eric Schmidt teamed up with his father in California to launch a small mail-order tool business. They started out shipping surplus tools from a tiny family warehouse, sending out black and white catalogs to bargain hunters across the country. The early days were scrappy, no fancy storefronts, just stacks of cardboard boxes and a phone line for orders. By 1980, Harbor Freight opened its first retail store in Lexington, Kentucky, a modest step that would eventually snowball into something much bigger. Growth came fast. Through the 80s and 90s, the company leaned into a simple promise: cheaper tools, shipped directly or sold in no-frills stores. Eric Schmidt, taking the reins as chief executive officer, pushed for aggressive expansion, reinvesting profits instead of taking on debt. This discipline paid off. By the late 1990s, Harbor Freight had dozens of locations, each packed with shelves of discount tools and staffed by employees hustling to keep up with demand. The company's headquarters moved to Calabasas, California in 2010, reflecting its new scale. In 2019, Harbor Freight celebrated its 1,000th store, cementing its presence from coast to coast. Today, the chain boasts over 1,200 stores and millions of loyal customers. That rapid rise was not just luck. It was the result of relentless focus on scale, volume, and a business model built for cost-cutting at every turn. The stage was set for a logistics operation that would redefine how tools reach American garages. Shipping costs can make or break a discount tool business. Harbor Freight found its edge by locking in container contracts with overseas shippers early on, long before most competitors saw the writing on the wall. By the early 2000s, the company was moving tools by the container load, not just the pallet, from factories in Asia straight to American ports like Long Beach. These were not one-off shipments. They were bulk deals negotiated months or even years in advance, guaranteeing space and predictable rates even when fuel prices spiked or ports got jammed. Once the containers hit U.S. soil, the tools did not just trickle into stores. They went straight into massive bonded warehouses, distribution centers designed to hold huge volumes and keep inventory moving fast. This system cut out layers of middlemen and slashed what is called the landed cost, the total price to get a tool from the factory floor to a store shelf, by as much as 20 to 30% compared to rivals still buying through domestic wholesalers. Harbor Freight could then pass those savings directly to customers, undercutting big box stores and even some online sellers. The real secret was not just buying cheap, it was shipping smart at scale and squeezing every cent out of logistics. That relentless focus on the supply chain set up the next phase, going straight to the source on manufacturing. Most Harbor Freight tools begin their lives thousands of miles from American stores, inside sprawling factories across China, Taiwan, Vietnam, and India. About 70 to 80% of the company's tools are produced in Asia, where the economics of manufacturing look very different from what most shoppers imagine. On these factory floors, automation handles half to nearly 3/4 of the repetitive work. CNC machines cut, stamp, and shape steel with minimal human intervention. The rest falls to workers earning between $2 and $5 an hour, assembling parts, checking tolerances, and packing finished tools for shipment. Production lines are designed for speed and volume. Each day, thousands of wrenches, drills, and sanders move from raw material to boxed product in a matter of hours. But not every tool makes the cut. Quality checks, both automated and manual, reject about 5 to 10% of what comes off the line, ensuring only tools that meet Harbor Freight's requirements continue on. This blend of low labor costs, aggressive automation, and high volume output keeps per tool expenses down. The result is a steady stream of affordable tools ready for bulk shipment to U.S. warehouses, with savings passed along to the customer. The true cost advantage is not about a single brand or product line. It is built into every step of how these tools are made. Harbor Freight's price advantage starts long before a tool lands on the shelf. The real engine is private label manufacturing, where tools are built by outside factories and then branded with names like Pittsburgh, Bauer, or Hercules. Instead of buying from established tool brands, Harbor Freight signs direct agreements with overseas factories, often locking in contracts for tens of thousands of units at a time. These deals are structured to squeeze every possible cent from the supply chain. Factories agree to strict cost targets, sometimes giving Harbor Freight a 40 to 60% edge over what big-name competitors pay for similar goods. In return, the factories get steady, high-volume business without the marketing costs or the risk of launching their own brand. This model cuts out the middleman entirely. There is no wholesaler taking a slice, no national brand tacking on a premium for advertising. Harbor Freight controls the specifications, packaging, and even the shipping terms. The result? Tools that hit the shelf at prices 20 to 50% lower than what you will find at most hardware chains. Vendor agreements often require factories to meet minimum volume commitments and allow for quick price renegotiations if global steel or shipping costs drop. Every contract is designed to keep Harbor Freight's costs and your price at checkout as low as possible. But these savings come with trade-offs, especially when it comes to quality, which is where scrutiny begins. Quality control at Harbor Freight starts with what is called first article testing. The first batch of every new tool off the line is checked for basic safety and function. But with thousands of products rolling out of factories across Asia, no system catches everything, and problems slip through. In 2020, a recall pulled nearly 1.7 million Pittsburgh jack stands off shelves after welds failed, causing the stands to collapse without warning. Some replacement stands were recalled too, this time for a different defect. The company offered full refunds, but the damage to trust was done. Recalls are not the only concern. In 2017, Harbor Freight settled a class action lawsuit over its pricing tactics. Customers alleged the company advertised fake discounts, listing tools at a supposed price that had not actually been charged in months. Harbor Freight agreed to pay out millions without admitting wrongdoing. Behind the scenes, the push to keep prices rock bottom puts pressure on the workforce. Employees describe a zero-defect culture and tight quotas, with high turnover common in stores and warehouses. The drive for savings means some tools are a bargain, but others can disappoint or even put users at risk. For shoppers, knowing what is behind the price tag is as important as the deal itself. A trip down the Harbor Freight aisle can feel like a game of chance. Some tools are genuine bargains, others are best left on the shelf. The trick is knowing which is which, and that is where the real secret comes in. Tool testers on YouTube have hammered, drilled, and torqued their way through dozens of Harbor Freight products, and their findings have reshaped what smart shoppers buy. Take the Bauer cordless drill. One reviewer tore it down and found metal gears inside, just like the ones in Milwaukee's Pro models, but at a third of the price. For weekend projects or the occasional fix, it is a steal. But that same reviewer burned out a Warrior drill after only a few hours of heavy use. That is the pattern. Simple low-complexity tools, wrenches, sockets, even belt sanders often punch above their weight. Icon and Pittsburgh Pro hand tools, especially those made in Taiwan, get high marks for durability and precision. Storage chests and basic air tools are safe bets for most home garages. On the other hand, entry-level power tools, especially anything with lots of moving parts, can be hit or miss. Sliding, miter saws, cheap drills, and bargain air tools sometimes fail fast or lack the power for demanding jobs. The secret is segmentation. Harbor Freight builds its lines for different shoppers, hobbyists, tinkerers, and pros on a budget. Buy the premium lines for tools you will use often. Stick to the basics for light-duty work. And keep in mind, industry analysts warn that as costs rise overseas, prices could jump 10 to 15% in coming years. The best deals go to those who know what to buy and what to avoid. Today, Harbor Freight's low prices reflect a global supply chain built for speed and savings, but not always for lasting quality. As inflation squeezes every dollar, the allure of cheap tools grows stronger. The real cost isn't always on the price tag. Choose wisely. Let me know your thoughts below.